Alrighty. I'm joined today by Jules Horn, a buddy of mine who I met in Los Angeles. I've had the pleasure of working with in person. Just a generally cool dude. I think that if you have the opportunity to meet with him, definitely, definitely take him up on it. Otherwise, reach out to him, get in touch. Very cool guy to learn from, even cooler guy to hang out with. Jules, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, my friend. It's a pleasure.
My pleasure. Sweet man. Well, I want to jump into a little bit of background on you just to get people familiar with who you are, what you do, and then
Yeah,
we'll freestyle it a little bit. How's that sound to
yeah,
you?
sounds great. So
Cool.
about myself, I'm originally from Germany. I'm 35 years old. I grew up in Germany, south of Germany, village of 120 people, not much going on there. Dad was a butcher, mom worked in a bakery, come from a very, very simple background. I have three sisters. I'm the second. I have a twin sister. And yeah, I worked went to school till I was 16, worked as an industrial mechanic actually from 16 to 23. Then I stumbled across modeling for some reason. I found my ways into the modeling industry, sent out some images and they liked me. And then I fast forward to 2016 when I was then moved to New York, was able to get my feet wet in New York, had a great career, great start. And I was living in New York till 2021, full-time modeling, and then moved out here, met my now wife online. I moved to LA and yeah, still was modeling for another couple of years. And the whole thing, I was always into health and wellness fitness, but there was a lot of disconnect because if everything you do is based on validation on the way you look and the way people like you in a picture, whether it's a picture or moving picture, doesn't really matter. It takes a toll onto your mental, but also emotional health, And growing up in Germany, my parents never really were able to give me a lot of love and emotionally connection, because they haven't had it on their own, and they never got taught how to do that for themselves. So there was a big disconnect on an emotional level in my childhood. There's no abuse or anything like this. It was just like I always was seeking on the outside when it comes to validation, just to fill that void within myself. And so yeah, it led me down multiple physical as well as mental burnouts, because eventually you can't run anymore and your body just tells you you can't do this anymore. So I was fortunate that I was able to listen, and I did came across different mentors like yourself, and which I call a mentor and friend. So I'm very grateful to be able to learn from you and from other people, and just make it my own, in a sense where I'm like, okay, if I'm able to sit with myself on a daily basis, actually able to control my breathing, not hyperventilate, be in stillness with myself, and then using different methods to open the body and teach my body that it's actually safe and that it can actually let go and relax, then I can build on top of that. And that's really what I've been doing over the last 2 years now. And we met last year. I learned so much from you, meaning so many, I always call them invisible tools, because nobody carries a toolbox around, but we all have one. And if we're able to see that, then we can add some tools into that. And that's what I valued a lot from what you showed me, and what I still keep exploring with your work and with you together, So I'm very, very grateful. It's a little bit about myself.
Well, I appreciate you. I'm grateful for your trust in that. I mean, what I noticed, I think this may come down to the fact that you've experienced the other side of like social acceptance or social validation. You don't get caught up in the gimmicky qualities of social media, or this aspect of like making a career as a byproduct of social media influence. And it's nice to know that you're cognizant of the impact caring too much about the superficial world like comes with. But not just that, it's just like it's not built into. I mean, I grew up in San Diego, very similar to Los Angeles in the respect of like, I don't know, have a persona before you meet their personality. And there's a lot of emphasis to like how they show up and what they seem like, but never really the direct exposure to who they are as a person. And I had the pleasure of experiencing that with you really quickly. And I imagine you find that value from having experienced what it's like to get the high end of validation, but understanding that's not the thing that you really wanted at the end of the day. Like you had said, your parents were starved for their own degree of affection that you wanted to experience. And no matter how much someone pets you for being pretty, it never really matches that kind of value, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a rat race, and I mean, you see it on social media. I don't know what happened, or if it's just me, but I don't think it's just me. But over the last year and a half or 2 years, so many people start, for example, wanting to pursue ultra marathons and ultra running and all that. It's another escape to run away from yourself, and it's mainly men. And what I see is, like, as you said, anyone can tell you, oh, you look beautiful in the picture, or gives you a clap on your shoulder that you succeed in an ultra marathon or run a marathon or whatever it is. And it's all great and it's all fine. And we should be pushing, as humans, we should be pushing the envelope with some in certain degree. But it's about, I always ask, like, what's the why behind it? And in the end of the day, it's like what I experienced, because I was into running and all this stuff myself at one point. Nobody actually gives a shit whether you run fast or you don't. It's all just, we create this illusion in our mind, and it's all ego driven, where it's like, oh, eventually it's not about actually enjoying running anymore. It's not about enjoying lifting weights anymore. It's about how much weight or how far can I run, how fast can I run, so I can tell this to other people, so I get that validation. And this is what I got caught up in, and I see this now more than ever. And it just creates a greater and greater disconnect with our true being and our soul, and you don't have to go super into detail and all that, but I always say, how I look at it now, Nate, is like, I do believe we all have a soul, and I do believe our soul chose this body to have an experience, a human experience, and we came to Earth School to have this experience. And if we're able to listen, we're gonna have a great experience, and the school won't be as hard, because we get doors opened that meant to be open, and others will be closed that should be kept closed, and people will come into our life at the right time. But a lot of times, in the society we live in, everyone has blindfolders on, has plugged the ears. They don't want to see, they don't want to hear what's actually going on within themselves. And it's all just driven by validation, by money, by success, and by greed. And when you run your life out on those pillars, sooner or later it becomes very unstable, and then the physical and the emotional and the mental body all just collapses and crumbles. And that's what I've been seeing with working with people. I mean, you see it on a daily basis. You can have all the money in the world, you can have all the houses, all the cars, it doesn't fucking matter if your health and your body is so disconnected on an emotional level. All that doesn't matter, because you can't fill that void within yourself. And once I realized that and just started working on myself, and it's a daily practice, I still do it, like, it's endless practice, because circumstances change. I'm married now, we want to have children, there's always work to do constantly. But when I find is, like, the more I just be present with myself, and then surround myself with guys like yourself, who we share the same interests, and it doesn't matter whether we mega successful or we not successful at all, it's still the same relationship, or it's still the same, like, communication, because we have the same interest and we just want to help others, right? But more so, first and foremost, we want to help ourselves to be connected, because if I can't help myself, I can't help anyone else. And that's really, like, it's a world we live in, it's just very disconnected. But yet I see a light sort of at the end of the tunnel, where people, especially men, coming more and more towards myself, and I'm sure towards you as well. And like, okay, if you make them feel something in the physical body, then they understand then there needs to be something going on in the emotional body as well.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, you pick up on things as a natural byproduct of how it makes you feel. Everything at the end of the day comes down to how we feel about the environment, not about how someone else feels, and then that means something to us, because it only means something to us because their feeling makes us feel a certain way. To the same effect, everything is experiential in our own body, and then how we are experienced and how we experience ourselves is how we are able to relate to people. So it is effectively like, if you want to improve yourself, if you want to improve how you relate to business or relationship or whatever, we all have to experience ourselves more actively and then understand how it is that we show up. I think the biggest thing that you're describing is that most people who are doing that are doing it so that they show up in a way that seems the most appealing but doesn't feel correct or doesn't feel like it fits them. And that same correlative, like okay, you're looking to find value, you're looking to find connection, and that means more to you than finding the whatever the other variable is. And when most people are trying to find the other variable, they're looking for that to create the safety and the peace that you found through other means. So I suppose you and I do it differently. I mean, you're more somatic than I am. You definitely are more cognizant of, at least in your practice, even if someone's totally uninformed about what's going on biologically, there's a person that's experiencing emotions. And from what I've experienced working with you or just knowing you, you're very attentive to how that person's going to experience that. I'll go a different route and be like, look, I know you're experiencing the panic. That's inevitable, but I want to show you how you can experience the panic and not feel the same overwhelm or the same consequences of sensitivity. And we're going to do these 3 exercises, or we're going to do this exercise. It's deep pressure therapy, or it's pliable, or it's whatever, to get you to feel that you can experience this intensity, you can experience overwhelm, but it doesn't mean that you stop being yourself, and it doesn't mean you stop perceiving things in real time. So where you give people a means to, and I know you do some of the same stuff I do, but where you give someone a means to accept themselves, I give more priority for them to test themselves. Like, I want for them to know that they have more capacity than they think. And so I'll oftentimes go a harder route just because I want people to know after the fact that it's them they have to rely on. It's not me they have to rely on. And I think in that same way, I mean, we both can learn from each other and whatever, but both our skill sets are very necessary. I think that you do something great that I don't do very well, and I do something great that maybe it's just not a focus for you. And those 2 combinations are really effectual for getting people to recognize the intensity of their emotions and the intensity of their physical self, and then just be like, moving on, next thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of those things that I really learned from you and what I really appreciate is everyone in this world right now, especially when it comes to physical practices, is very good in pointing fingers and making it like, oh, this is a gold standard now. You know, I don't want to call anyone out right now, but we both know which names to talk about when it comes to that. And it's just where you coming from is like, okay, on a physical level, how about we building a solid foundation, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want. If you want to run an ultra marathon, go run it. If you want to deadlift 500 pounds, go train for it and do it. But you have the foundation right, you know, and there's no right or wrong, because I agree 100% with your philosophy where it's like, okay, the human body is incredibly resistant and the human body is incredible adaptable, but you have to have the foundation right. If I'm a contractor and I want to build a house and I try to build it on a rocky or sandy foundation, good luck. You know, you build it and the first wind comes, it blows it over. And that's where we add as a society, everyone jumps into something without having the foundation right. And I'm not saying we have to obsess over it, but it comes back down to like, how do I actually feel in my body when I'm not running away from it? And pain and suffering is part of life, but it shouldn't be your life or anyone's life. Where like, oh, if I'm not like crushing myself every day and like being pain and spend the day in bed, I didn't do it right. It's like, it's so far from the truth, you know? So I really appreciate you like, okay, here's what I learned, what I studied myself. If you apply that into your practice, you just get better in whatever you're doing. Rather than saying you should never squat, you should never do this, you should. It's all like pointing fingers. And all those guys, I'd love to have a conversation with every single one of them, because all I would ask is like, okay, you're very good in pointing one finger to another person. What are those 3 fingers telling yourself? And they probably won't have an answer for that, because it's all fucking ego-driven, you know? Totally. I'm not saying I have it figured out, nor do you say you have it figured out, but it's more we come from a place, we're on the other side, where we either were in physical pain, emotional pain, or both together. And then now I'm in a place where I'm like, I actually feel good. I have a lot of energy when I get up in the morning. if I keep doing my practice on a daily basis, I feel better and better. So there must be something that works for myself. So since we humans are all very much the same, yes, different, but on a physiological level, we kind of, if we apply certain basics to another as a person, we probably get similar benefits. So what works for me might work for the other person. And I'm not coming from a place like, I'm a teacher, you have to do this. I'm like, this works for me. If it works for me, it might work for you. Try it out. If it doesn't work, has nothing to do with myself. It doesn't change my life, doesn't change the other person's life. And since I stepped away from trying to change people, and since I stepped away from trying to convince people and just lead by example, I live a much more sane life.
I've noticed it. I've been really excited watching your progress. I mean, it's progress that's already been in the way. It's not like it was like a wake up one day, your behavior changed. It was a progressive thing that you'd work toward, but I've been proud of you. It's been cool to see how much
Thank you, man.
In the last few months. I mean, it's something you worked for. You earned it.
You know, I appreciate that. And for me, it's just, honestly, like, it takes one person always. Like, if I can help one person, this person can help someone else, and then it's a ripple effect. And however corny it sounds, like, and I repeat myself with this, but when I first read about what Ram Dass, like this, we all just walk each other home, this phrase, it stuck with me forever. And I'll repeat that out all the time because it's the truth. It's like what we're here for, to experience. In the end of the day, we're here to experience unconditional love and support each other, which means we walk each other home, however someone wants to interpret that, you know. But for me, it's like, okay, if I can help someone along their way a little bit on a daily basis, and from one person becomes two and so forth, and then all of a sudden, like, we can really change the world in a sense, a little bit a better place. Because if one person is out of pain and feels a little bit more connected, chances that person is less angry, has less resentment and rage within themselves, because they feel more safe and better in their body on a physical and an emotional base, you know.
I agree with you. I think the thing that makes us all better at being people is seeing what makes us similar to the person next to us, and not striving to see what makes us unique as an individual. Because you'll inevitably see what differentiates you from someone else. You can't ignore it. But by seeing the comparative or seeing the similarity, you start to find you're not alone, you're not as isolated, or you are more acceptable than maybe you thought you were without even having to hear it from someone else. Have you seen the tattoo I have on my left arm?
I've probably seen it, but I cannot remember it.
Yeah. So the same thing you're talking about, everyone they want connection. They don't look for the big house. They don't look for all the money. I mean, those things may be like objectively thought about and they have want for it, but at the end of the day, people are made happy by being accepted into a social circle. Like, they're accepted by other people. People are like, I recognize you, you recognize me, we're going through life together, or in some capacity you create some like familial, we're similar, this is awesome. One thing I noticed, my mom was a huge purveyor of like love and getting along in my house. And I have 4 older half brothers that have different moms, so it was like a job for her getting the different parts of the house to come together. But when she passed away, or rather, before she had passed away, I had a baby sister when I was 3 that passed away from SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, and it was my mom's first daughter. So on the gravestone, she had written the words, "A million kisses." We have a number of gravestones that surround that and say, beloved father, beloved whatever, beloved grandfather. But the only thing that I saw in this whole cemetery I'm sure there are a number of them that are distinctive, but this one was just a message of affection, a message of love. There was no like mourning, there was no wordy, like, this is how you say someone's special. It was just an expression of love. And so I realized that growing up, after my mom passed and after like a lot of things changed in my household, that things were not as important if you didn't have that thing that made you feel safe and wanted. And my mom did that for me, but a lot of my household was kind of just caught up in their own stuff after she had passed away. So what I got tattooed on me is what my mom had put on my baby sister's gravestone, and that's a million kisses. So there's an A there in the flower.
Yeah,
It's effectively just a reminder that no matter what happens at the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is like who you can hug and who you can be hugged by. And if that's not something you have, you're always going to be seeking it, or you're always going to be scared of finding it because it's not something that you're able to handle yet. It's something you want, but it's
yeah,
not something you're able to handle yet. So I think that, yeah, we all do come from the same place. We all do come from it for different reasons. I think I had less tools when I built an initiative to help people, or like wanting to make change. And it sounds like you developed a lot of like very mature tools, despite maybe wanting more affection, or wanting to be appreciated for things aside of your looks. Like it seemed like you developed very mature tools, which maybe that's not an American thing, maybe that's just the German in you. But I'm impressed by it because there are things that I couldn't really put to words very well. I had to get like a memory that was tied with sensation, and like it meant things to me, but it doesn't really mean anything to anyone else. So what we're effectively doing is we're taking a thing that means something to us that doesn't mean anything to anyone else, and learning how to give that value to other people. And I think you do a tremendous job of that in ways that I don't. So I admire it, and I'm definitely gonna pilfer some of your skills over time.
well, thank you, brother. I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing this, this message. And I'm sorry for your loss. We talked about that, and I know how it feels like when my dad passed 4 years ago. It's exactly what you said. It's those moments, as hard as it is. But what I learned is, in this realm, how I look at it with my father, and you can look at it the same way from your mother's side. It's our parents, like my father's soul, wanted to make space for my soul to actually shine in that field as a man. Because for me, I would always have a backbone, right? And chances I would never have grown to the man I am today without him leaving this earth are pretty high, And in a sense, you can look at the same way from mother, the love she gave you, it's a hard pill to swallow. And I know it's like really, sometimes I'm like, is it really the truth? But in a sense, it really has helped me a lot over. Yeah, exactly. But it has helped me a lot. Yeah, and it helped me a lot to get over this grief process. It's like, the love you got from your mom, now you can use that love really and give it to other people. And as you just said, show that in a sense where like, wait a minute, I can be that person now who actually gives a million kisses to someone else without needing to get anything back. And this is really, again, it comes back down to what I said. It's like this place where I'm like, for me, it's like giving someone, making someone feel safe and like loved and seen without, doesn't matter, like it's not the physical part, it's like the internal feeling, like the spark. Because in the end of the day, Nate, when we were in the womb of our mother, all we knew was safety and unconditional love. So then when we in this world, the way this is set up, everything, our society is operating, it's exactly opposite. It's like about chasing something, not feeling connected to yourself. So when I can help someone to find that little, it's a spark, and then it comes back down to remembering, because the body remembers that it once was safe. So, and this is something I always tell everyone, if I can do that, dude, with my background, where I'm from, the way I got raised, if I'm able to do that, anyone can do that, 1,000%. It's more about like, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to go to this place where, yes, it's very uncomfortable, and you got to sit with yourself, and then from that place, you start to understand yourself. And again, I don't have it figured out by any means. It's more like on a daily basis, I learn something new about myself every day. If I sometimes I listen to the same, whether it's Alan Watts video or some other person's video on YouTube. I listen to the same thing for like 2 to 3 weeks, every morning for 2 hours. And every day I learn again something new, because I'm a different person. I woke up, I'm a different man with different humans every single day. But I can add on to that. And from that place, I can give. And that's the only way, And then all of a sudden, I don't work a day in my life anymore. It's like I see people, I work with people, I interact with people. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, I need a little bit more space for myself. But that's just like our own place where we reload this battery, where we charge this battery for ourselves, and has nothing to do with being selfish. It's all just how I look at it. It's like self-love and self-respect for myself, because if I just give and don't put myself first, I end up burning out all the time, and so
yeah, you can put as many people into the car as possible, but if the car doesn't have fuel, it's not going anywhere. And if you're the car, that's going to be the biggest issue.
Yeah
man, I think something that we get caught up in this business is that there's always the comparative. We want to define ourselves, but in so doing, because people may not understand what we've gone through, we use a lot of comparatives. We'll use this as an example, something that they may be familiar with, to describe what we want them to be familiar with. And the issue with that is that most of us don't have the same perceptions. We may have the same thoughts, we may have the same available physiology, but it means something different because we've existed in different states throughout our life. So I was highly threatened, or highly my stress response, or my whatchamacallit, I love when I space out on the exact word that I need. Regardless, my nervous system was very reactive. Growing up, I was really, really quick to notice things, but at the same time, I was also super sensitive to sounds, to light, to stuff like that. And for people who don't have that issue, they never grew up with any of that issue, the oomph or the insistence to find the next piece of information in my body is very different than their body. My body's we need that answer now, otherwise we're going to have an issue, and we don't want an issue. So preemptively kind of creating issues. And it does come to the point where, do we want to train people to get so good at being a human that if they were to come across that, they'll be able to deal with it? Or is our job just to fill in the space of giving someone as much as they can take and not trying to force the issue, allowing for them to just, if they can only drink this much water, they're going to be drinking that much water, and we're not going to try to fill up a full cup for them. It's something I've struggled with for a period of time, because there's so many people in this industry who will say, this is right, this is wrong, these are the things you have to do. But because their picture is so limited, or it doesn't account for the nervous system, the brain, or the gut, or whatever it may be, there comes down to being your answer is not wrong, but it's not right. So at what point do we start arguing, or what point do we stop standing up for ourselves or our opinion? That's kind of just to say, I oftentimes get myself caught up in that, where the most I can help someone is giving them the full glass of water, but knowing that most people only want to sip, I do get caught up in that. I don't love that.
Well, I think, you over time, you already know it. So it's more a constant practice, and it's really something, and I adopted that early on, because I came across a few people sometimes, for example, one of them was Ben Greenfield. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
So I was once, that's 2018, I was in New York, and we connected, and he invited me to back then he did a dinner, there was a dinner series, The Chef and the Doctor or something, and he was basically, there was this famous chef, and he would do a dinner party with Ben Greenfield, and part of the dinner party was him basically giving a presentation. And he's very smart, and he's very well written, and has a lot of knowledge. Within the first 10 minutes, he went so deep into science, and I looked around the room, 9 out of 10 people, over 90% out in this room already, they shut off, because they don't want to know, for example, what turmeric does in your body, exactly what's happening on a cellular level in your body. No, they want to know, I have inflammation, I take turmeric and I'll be fine. And I realized that early on. So for me, it's it's really, okay, I have a problem. Most people have a problem. How can I solve that? But the way from here to here has to be the shortest way possible. Because if there's too much room in between, meaning too much learning and reading and studying, people don't want to do it. And it's unfortunate, but not everyone is like yourself. And I want to know things about it as well. And it's more, as you said, people want a sip of water, but they want to feel like they drank an entire bottle. So it's a kind of like it's a paradox to create that. Yeah. So, but in the end of the day, there's ways to do that, because what I noticed with what I'm doing, Nate, is when I give them the right sip, they want to start getting the entire bottle and want to understand that, So rather than, for me, it's like I give them baby sips of that water, and then eventually they come and ask for the entire bottle. But if I give them the entire bottle, a lot of times, oh, I'm not that thirsty. I don't want to drink that. It's not for me. So there's ways to do that. What I learned over the last 2 years, where I can work with different people very differently. Everyone is very different, So when it comes to the physical and the emotional body, because for example, with men, if I just talk about make them feel something, trying to give them access to emotions without the physical part, 9 out of 10 times never works, because there's no trust. So they need to feel something, So, but again, it's like an endless journey for me too. It's like a learning curve on a daily basis. And how I look at it is like, in the end of the day, we all mirrors for each other. So if I'm able to see and I'm willing to see, I see something in the mirror you give me, and vice versa. And we don't have to the part of that is not mirroring another, meaning I need to do exactly what you do, no vice versa. It's like, what can I learn from that person? What does this mirror can teach me on a daily basis, or when I spend time with someone, how can I give something from my mirror that might help get his or her mirror a little bit cleaner so they can see better.
Yeah, you're refracting some of your light. You're letting their container move through them, your light. I think that a lot of the big picture is that everything is nuanced. There's no one singular answer to anything, because we have 9 different reasons for our why. Our why is essentially our midbrain, or our present brain, the one that doesn't think ahead or think behind, but rather is a production of our memories or present experience, is effectively exposed to, I don't know how that happened again. I think there's just the noises I'm getting distracted by. Dude, we have a bunch of trucks. I had an idea, I had a thought, it just dispersed. Okay, so back to the point. I lost my whole train of thought. At the end of the day, every single person is a collection of past memories, present experiences, and then what their brain has come up with about meaning. So maybe they have clear meanings, maybe they don't, but regardless, there's always going to be meaning attributed to stuff. I think the limitation of telling someone, all right, I see it a lot in female-led somatic workshops, where the design is you need to feel as much as you can. You need to experience as much of your body as you can. Oftentimes with very little organization or very little intensity. It's designed to be like, all right, we're going to scream for a while, we're going to dance for a while, we're going to let it all out. Okay, what about building that foundation, putting the underlying qualities that need to be put in there? Or for a dude who's just lifted his whole life and he doesn't know how to relax, it's the exact opposite. Are you going to teach that person to keep pushing, or are you going to teach them how to yield? Or in an environment that makes sense to their brain, how are they going to experience intensity that they can still feel good about, but see the value of, okay, feeling things is important. I don't just need to rush to the next activity. That said, I have no experience doing that. How do I feel something in this intense experience and also feel like I don't have to do something else? I can just feel that enlivened experience and it be the only thing. It's not a male-female thing. It's a visceral input thing. It's like how much your nervous system can tolerate inputs in a certain direction, where women do build out more of that cognitive sensory direction. They're like, I'm attentive to how you feel here. I'm attentive to what this means socially. A lot of the time, dudes are like, I need to get this done. I'm not being accepted socially, or I'm not immediately in the acceptance or approval. I'm not the prettiest thing, or I don't talk the right way, or I don't dress the right way. And so we bull rush and we're like, let's just get it done. If more men knew how to sit with their feelings, and if more women knew how to work through their feelings, we'd have less of this dichotomy, I think. And that ends up being a huge issue for, like, if you look at any one of those systems that we talk about and we see an issue in, some of them are very sensory, some of them are very mechanical, and you can kind of see the sensory ones are more feminine, the mechanical ones are more masculine, and they drive do, feel, feel. And if we just blend some of that, similar to how you and I have both done it, it'll look different. I mean, you and I are not the same person. I run my head into more things than you do, but we still have similar intentions, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like, this is the number one thing where I'm like, okay, as you said, there's so many ways I always say there's many, many ways to Rome. There's not one way only. And why not just like learning from another and not always making it, oh, this is the only way, this is the gold standard. Like, what you just said, it's, for example, the Wim Hof stuff is such a great example because it just shows where the world is at. Though how his method of hyperventilation and all that became so huge because people are in a constant stress mode. So, my fire is already burning full force. Like, wait, if I put in like a little bit more oil, it's burning even bigger. Yeah. Let's go. So
that's how it do sensation.
Yeah, exactly. And then, they feel something, or like, I get this question all the time. Jules, did you ever do like the breath work 90 minutes, what's it called? Where you basically hyperventilating breathe for 90 minutes. This is the only way to release emotions. If you just do that for 90 minutes straight, I'm like, it's exactly the opposite of what I want to do in my life. Because it's already, and I learned that early on, and I be honest, like 2018 when I came across, or 19 when I came across all that, I'm like, I try Wim Hof. And I said in the beginning, I come from a tiny village in the middle of nowhere, countryside, living all of a sudden in New York. The external stressor was so large, I had to stop drinking coffee in New York because it was too much on my nervous system. So then I was starting for a week, I would do the Wim Hof stuff in the morning. I felt good for about 45 minutes. And then I was crushed the entire day. I was crushed. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, I realized this is the only thing I added in. And then now I understand why, because it just checks up your nervous system, your cortisol level are through the roof. Everything is through the roof. And of course you feel like shit.
Yeah. So to that effect, I mean, I think it may be useful to create the parable. Wim Hof has a number of studies that have proven in a clinical sense its value. It's very easy to set up a situation where if someone's doing something and they add in another behavior to either indicate this is unharmful or a beneficial experience, it's difficult to have a comprehensive view of something because there's always a bias. But realistically, the value behind Wim Hof stuff is the amount of blood flow that goes to the ribs. The ribs start to insulate the body, particularly the most primary organs for you to survive. And in so doing, they give your midbrain a bunch of stable feedback. It's the simple nature of it. On top of that, there's an adrenal experience. So 45 minutes of good feeling probably came from, all right, my brain feels this stuff, but there's enough adrenaline going through my body that the intensity of this feeling isn't overwhelming. This is kind of how my body wants to feel right now. Except as soon as you run out of energy, you're like, I definitely never want to feel like this. Now that's the same nature that we experience from anything that our nervous system pays attention to or experiences without having the ability to balance the tone of our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. When I say balance it, you've heard me talk about the pump a million times, but the pump is a blending between the two ends of arousal, hypo and hyper arousal. And minding that mid ground is where you can stay squeezed and pumped and tight, but that tissue still remains pliable and it's not locked and limited and arthritic or pre-arthritic or whatever. And that's the big issue where a lot of women will discuss being very like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. They're hypermobile, and a lot of men will walk around with like stick up their ass syndrome. And both those things are tension issues. Like they have too much tension and it's not congruent with their body moving. The difference is women yield by allowing for a lot of places to experience excess motion, and men experience very, very limited motion, so their body tense, 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 and it experiences more of that. At the end of the day, all I'm really describing is that we experience through our thoughts an emotional experience, and that emotional experience has a physical, a tangible sensation. It's all to say, am I safe? Am I not safe? If someone is typically not very safe, then, and this is most of us, we create tension, we facilitate stability in our system to generate that safety. The best thing that anyone can do is experience how unstable their system is, how turbulated it is, and then just accept it. Not try to work to calm down, not try to work to get really strong, but if you can actually acknowledge the here and now, the real present experience of your nervous system, after you finish that, your brain's like, look, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not rushing to find out how to make ourselves much calmer. We're not rushing to avoid it. We're like, look, we're in a way. This doesn't feel good. I don't like the way this is, but this is the truth of it. As soon as a human being can acknowledge the truth of their experience, then everything kind of opens up. The same way that you and I have a skill to kind of tell ourselves the truth. The more that and pain, I think, is the most honest thing that you can experience. So probably some loss that we both experienced in some respect pushed us along in that. I would never wish on anyone the loss of their mom or dad early on in their life. That said, there is a lot to gain from it that maybe most people don't have. And it's not an exchange I want to have to make, or even I like having made. But if we can acknowledge the pain and see it for what it is, there's no real running away. It's just like every breath you take is more honest.
Yeah, 100%. It's very beautiful stated. Appreciate that. But it's the truth, it's like there's nothing else in here now, in a sense. And this is an ironic part, because everything you do, like when people go on social media, you turn on the TV, you go drive Sunset Boulevard, whatever it is, like everything is just about like thinking about the fucking future. Everything is about, look at this, I need to do this, I need to have this, I need to go there, I need to feel like this, I need to look like this. So it just disconnects you further and further from who you are. And it's pretty amazing. And I'm very, very grateful that we, our path crossed, because in a sense, it's a mirror. When you speak like this, it reminds me that this is the way,
Totally. Yeah. And same for me. I mean, I've learned a lot from you. I think one of our first experiences when we got a meal together was just really pleasant. It's nice to know a dude that's not fighting to be known for, I mean, at the end of the day, we all see our own insecurities. We all see the rush that we have beneath the skin, and it's nice to experience someone that doesn't have a tremendous rush.
Thank you. Appreciate that.